All right, let's try this problem here. So, public awareness campaigns about the need to reduce single-use plastics can be successful, says the researcher. Blah, blah, blah. Japan achieved a 40% reduction in plastic bag use after cashiers. So, cashiers is plural. So, that's the key to this problem, guys. Just understanding that. Cashiers is plural, so it has to be, we're instructed to ask customers whether they want it. Okay, so plural. You can't say cashiers it, so it's just plural subject agreement, right? Pronoun. There we go. In ancient Greece, an Epicurean was a follower of Epicurus, a philosopher whose belief revolved around the pursuit of pleasure. Epicurus defined pleasure as the absence of pain in the body and of trouble in the soul. Now, so we have to ask ourselves, is this a full sentence? No, it's not. So we need a comma there, right? So that's the logic. It can't be this one because we don't have two complete sentences. It can't be that one because in most cases, a period and a semicolon are the same. It can't be this. We're not really listing anything. So clearly it has to be that one, okay? Good. British scientists James Watson and Francis Crick won the Nobel Prize in part for their 1953 paper announcing the double helix structure of DNA. But it is misleading to say that Watson and Crick discovered the double helix. They, right? Their findings. So it's plural because it's both of them, right? So it's their findings. Okay. In 1937, Chinese-American screen actor Anna May Wong, who had portrayed numerous villains and secondary characters but never a heroine, finally got a starring role in Paramount Pictures' Daughter of Shanghai, a film that... So this is necessary information, biologist, basketball player Michael Jordan. So we have to not put any commas there, okay? A film that critic blah, blah, blah claims expanded, okay? So it's, unless we have a reason to put a comma, if we just have a title, we don't do that, Chef Bill. We wouldn't put a Chef Bill is a great chef. So that sort of example, okay? In 1637, the price of tulips skyrocketed in Amsterdam, with single bulbs of rare varieties selling for up to the equivalent of 200,000 in today's US dollars. Some historians blank. So some historians claim, right? That's the subject verb we need. Some historians claim that this tulip mania was the first historical instance of an acid bubble. Okay. Other ones wouldn't make a complete sentence. Okay. Researchers studying magnetosensation have determined why some soil-dwelling roundworms in the southern hemisphere move in the opposite direction of Earth's magnetic field when searching for blank. So it's a description, right? It's a description. So this is going to be a run-on sentence. We need some sort of punctuation, right? Searching for food while in the northern hemisphere. So the reason this can't be right is because you can't have, it wouldn't make sense to put a comma right there, right? That would create a run-on. So that's why that one's wrong. Again, run-on sentence. So this is the only one that's not a run-on sentence. So even if you feel the colon is weird, think about elimination, okay? All right. Scientists believe, unlike other species of barnacle, turtle barnacles can dissolve the cement-like secretions they use to attach blank. So it has to be themselves, right? Because they're talking about themselves, right? It's a part of them. Unlike other species, can dissolve secretions they use, right? To attach blank. So it's talking about themselves, right? We have to know what this is testing, guys. It's testing one idea and one idea only. Who is this talking about? Who recovered 2 years later? So you have this guy named Henry. He got sick. This guy named Richard took over. But when he recovered, he basically took back the throne. Henry did, right? So the point is, all we have to look for is this. It has to be Henry, not his reign, not it, not it's Henry, 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 Henry. So that alone it's the modifier question, guys. It's just testing that. Okay, so you see how easy it is when you know what to look for. So what is this testing? Her writing, So Harris's first novel, but her writing were, nope, it has to be her writing was honored. Her writing have been, nope. So it's just, we have to have the right agreement, right, with the plurality here. So her writing is, we don't have that option, so her writing has been, okay? The Alvarez theory, developed in 1980 by physicist Louis and his son, maintained that the effects of asteroid impact cause many dinosaurs and other animals to die out. So it can't be this one, run-on sentence, right? Can't be this one, comma splice. Can't be this one, run-on sentence. So it has to be, it's two independent clauses. So, right? Just two. So this is a full sentence, basically, right? It's a full sentence. So you can put that there, okay? In winter, the diets of Japanese macaques, also known as snow monkeys, are influenced more by food availability than by food preference. Although the monkeys prefer to eat vegetation and land-dwelling invertebrates, those food sources may become unavailable because of extensive snow and ice cover. Blank. So the food becomes scarce. So put yourself in that situation. He climbed the mountain, forcing him to crawl up the hill. He climbed a very steep mountain, forcing him. So you wouldn't say he climbed a very steep mountain to force him, right? So the steep mountain kind of leads to him doing that action. So it's going to be forcing, okay? So you see how it's subtle here, but so think about that construction. The spice was super hot, forcing him to drink water incessantly, right? You wouldn't say to force him. So don't just get the answer. Try to understand the logic, because SAT is going to repeat itself, guys. All right, Lucia Michael of the University of Chile observed that soil contains an insoluble form of iron that blueberry plants cannot absorb, thus inhibiting blueberry growth. If these plants were grown in alkaline soil alongside grasses that aid in iron solubilization, so that we have a question, right? Can't be this one, right? Can't be that one. It's just, could the blueberries thrive, right? Michael was determined to find out. So it's definitely going to be a question. This is not a, you wouldn't say the blueberries could thrive. It would be, could the blueberries thrive, right? So easy, good. All right. So you just look at this, guys. Today, pack. So it can't be this, because it would have to say in the future, pack will be. So it doesn't say that. In the past, so it's not that. So it's just, it has to be is, guys, right? So I don't want you to just skip stuff, but when you practice, you realize, like, you don't have to read this whole thing. In the 1963 Exposition of Music, Korean artist Nam Pike showed how television images could be manipulated to express an artist's perspective. Today, Pike is considered the first video artist. So don't just get the question. Understand that if it was in the future, Pac will be considered the first video artist, right? So notice the structure there. Good. All right. So looking at this, we're going to have to determine, do we have sentence? So the first computerized spreadsheet. So again, let's eliminate all the nonsense here, because we just want to focus on, is it a sentence, so blah, blah, blah. So how about this, guys? I really want you to just eliminate, so we see the structure of the sentence. The spreadsheet improved financial record keeping, okay? So this it's just a supplementary part. Who cares, See how I'm just making it easy, guys? They're doing this to try to confuse you, right? So it's just all part of the sentence. The spreadsheet improved financial record keeping. Not only this, so we can roughly think of the structure as this. The spreadsheet improved financial record keeping by keeping these adjustments. So it's something like that, guys, right? So the point is, it's a full sentence, definitely is. And then this is a full sentence. So you see how the SAT is all about, you have to look for the right stuff. So then if I put a prior here, so prior to this release, that's a full sentence, right? Prior to Visic's release. So again, remember that that's just going to be supplementary, right? So the real meat and potatoes is right here. So that's the full sentence, right? Changing a paper spreadsheet often required redoing the entire sheet by hand. So it's a sentence, guys. And that's the only one that could work. So you see how I've just analyze almost like a math problem. All right, in order to prevent non-native fish species from moving freely between the Mediterranean and Red Seas, marine biologist Bella has proposed that a saline lock system be installed along the Suez Canal in Egypt's lakes. The lock would increase the salinity of the lakes, and so the lock would increase the salinity of lakes. And so again, look at the structure. The lock, right, would increase the salinity of lakes. So who cares about that? So I'm just going to say this. The lock would what? Create a natural barrier. The lock is a singular thing. The lock would create a natural barrier. Okay. All right. Despite being cheap, versatile, and easy to use. So, guys, what is it talking about? It's a modifier problem. What are cheap, versatile, and easy to produce? It's not the problems. Nope, it's not that. It's not this. It's not this. It's commercial plastics, guys. So what is cheap? What is versatile? What is easy to produce? It's the plastics. So if you look for it, that's all it is a modifier question, guys. When this happens, you want to not have punctuation unless it's necessary for a different reason. So a basketball player, Michael Jordan, is arguably the GOAT. No punctuation there. So it's just going to be this one, okay? Plant cell biologist Yuri Lee showed that lipid molecule. So remember that proper names, you want to not have that much punctuation. So this is, I guess it's part of grammar, but it's more of a transition. Small flat structures called spatulae are found at the tips of the hairs of a spider's leg. These spatulae temporarily bond with the atoms of whatever they touch. Blank spiders are able to cling to and climb almost any surface. So because of this, they're allowed to climb every surface. Okay, so we're going to say as a result. So it goes back to the fundamentals, guys. Singular versus plural. When you have names, if it's a proper name. So like, the ninth grader, comma, a boy who was new that day, end comma. So that's not necessary, right? But this is necessary. Biologist Yuri Lee. So we don't have punctuation there. Eliminate the fluff. That's a big strategy, right?